Exciting to have Ben Marello on the pod. Ben. Why don't you do a little brief introduction of yourself? I know, obviously, you're playing in Spain right now, in a professional league. I think it was the AB. What is it? What league is it
Yeah,
exactly?
they
A
call it IBA out here.
the EBA. Word. And you played college, right? In the States at Florida Southern, correct?
Yes.
Nice. So yeah, why don't you do just give the listeners a brief introduction? I know, like, obviously, like I just said, like, playing in Spain right now, Division Two. Obviously looked up some highlights. You had some pretty sick highlights on YouTube and stuff. So go check them out if you're listening to this. But yeah, like, how's playing in Spain? How did you get there? How did that happen?
I've been playing basketball my whole life, really. I'm 24 years old now. Like you said, I played college ball at Florida Southern College in Lakeland, Florida, Division II school. And I just stuck with it, man. Obviously I put in a lot of work, but we had a good senior year. I had a good senior year. We had a really good team, and that allowed me to kind of move on to the professional level. Never would have been able to do it without being on a good team and having a great coaching staff and all that stuff. So I got to give the credit to those guys. But I also I'm really fortunate right now with COVID going on. I have my Italian passport, which which allows me to be over here right now because a lot of Americans are having trouble getting over here with the visas and playing ball over in
Mm.
Europe. So luckily, I didn't have any issues with my passport. And
I didn't even think about that. That's
yeah,
crazy. So are you from Italy originally, or?
no, I've only been to Italy one time actually, but my grandfather was a citizen. He was born in the States and his mom was not a U.S. citizen. So it got passed down, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that, and it's really helping me out at a time like now.
Yeah. Super lucky. Obviously, sucks what's going on, and you probably can't enjoy it as much, right? But at least you get to play and be
Yeah.
out there. That's so cool. Where in Spain are you located?
So I'm in a little town called Renato de Pelagos. I think that's how you say it. It's about 15 minutes from a bigger city called Santander, which is Spain's kind of broken up into like regions almost. I think that's what they call them. And I'm in Cantabria, which is like northern Spain. So the capital of Cantabria, I believe, is Santander, which is about 15 minutes up the road. So
Yeah, like the bank, right? Santander
what's that?
Bank. Santander Bank. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's.
if that's all over the place. I don't know. I think it's
I don't know.
affiliated.
I don't know if it is either. I just figured when you said that,
Yeah,
that's what I thought of. But
yeah, man.
yeah, that's so cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. So, I spoke to you a little bit yesterday. I know one of the guys on your team at Florida Southern. So, my brother actually played at St. Thomas Aquinas, obviously
Okay.
another Division II school, and Jonathan Lawton, who I know you played with, and I believe was, an All-American, right? Or one of the years that he was playing there. So he was on the team with Ross when they went to the Elite Eight, with Justin and all those guys. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. How was it playing at the D2 level? I don't know. Did you start normally? Did you have to work your way up the
Um,
ranks, or?
so originally, well, I'll give you a whole rundown. I went to a prep school in the Northeast. I did an extra year of high school, did a prep year. I had some scholarship offers. I was waiting for all the Division I schools, this and that. You know, every kid wants to do that, but I decided it was a better fit for me to go play Division II. So I took a scholarship at a school in Arkansas. I played for 2 years at a Division II in Arkansas. Did really well. Started my second year there. I was a starter, and then I decided to go a little closer to home. I had grandparents who were older, just family. You know, I wanted to be closer, and I thought I'd put myself in the position to have that option. So I ended up transferring, and Florida Southern gave me a scholarship pretty quickly. And when I visited, I was like, man, it was beautiful. and I picked that school, and it ended up being the right choice. At first, I didn't start at first, like maybe the first 12 or 13 games, and then we were having some issues. Coach inserted me into the lineup, and uh, the rest is history. And we
Rest
went
is
on to
history.
have a little good run there for 2 years. So
Yeah, you guys were a really good team, right? For the 2 years. So you were there for 2 full years, right?
2 full years, yes.
2 full years. You guys had a couple good runs, right? I don't know, like if you were in the tournament both
Yeah.
years or just one of the
Yep.
years. Or?
My junior year, so my first year there, we were a pretty young team. We had two seniors. One of them didn't play much. One of them uh, was who I took the starting spot over him. But so we were a really young starting group, starting five, young team overall. We ended up finishing, I want to say, third in the league that year in our conference. So we knew the future was going to be bright. We got a bid to the NCAA tournament, and we actually beat the number one seed at their place, which was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
we were
feel
down,
like
came back. It was awesome, man.
that's got to be, yeah. I feel like, so the couple times or the few times that they made the tournament stack, I went to. So once was at I forgot what, the Holy Family in Pennsylvania was the host school. They were the one seed, and then twice Lemoyne. I think all 3 years the number one seed lost in that tournament.
Really?
So yeah, it's crazy. Like I feel like college basketball, like just the craziest stuff happens, and
One game. It's one
it's
game, man.
it's
You
one
never
game
know.
elimination.
Yeah.
That's so fun. But yeah, so how does it, now you're playing in Spain, right? Like it's just, looking at even just some of the clips, and I've spoken with Justin Reyes as well, who I'm sure, I don't know if you know of him, but he was on Ross's team and played in Puerto Rico. And I know that like just playing overseas is just like, it just looks different, like on screen, like when you're watching it. Like how different is that play style for you?
Um, I started off in Ireland last year. When I was in Ireland, it wasn't too much of an adjustment to the to the U.S. game. It was pretty similar. It was kind of a lot of one-on-one. They gave the Americans the ball and kind of let them work, which seems to be more American right now. The ISO ball and all
Yeah, for
that. And
sure.
then I I left Ireland halfway through the year. I was on a couple month contract replacing an injured player. So I went from there and I moved on to Austria. And Austria was kind of a reality check. That was real like real European style basketball where that ball is moving, people are cutting back door. I mean, it's really smart basketball and physical. It was the most physical basketball I'd ever played. So it was an adjustment. And then this year in Spain, it's kind of a mix of both. Um, it's you see a little bit of Ireland, but you see that physicality and the speed that you saw in Austria. So it's a different game over here for sure.
Yeah. No, I feel like, yeah, like you said, like it's a lot of, um, even when the guys come over to the NBA, right? Like, I mean, I'll take Luca as an example, even though I feel like that's just an easy example of good ball movement, right? And just like, just a European style of play, just
Yeah.
like you said, cutting off the ball and just being able to do all those little things. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's starting to become, you know, we are, we do have a lot of ISO ball in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA, but I think the better teams are the ones that can move the ball and play the way that you're describing right now, like that European, quote unquote European style
Right.
of play.
No, no doubt. I mean, like look at the Spurs. I mean, you can. How many foreign guys did they have on their team? And I mean, just look at the success. And if you asked anybody who was a fan of basketball the last 20 years, which team moved the ball the best? I mean, it was San Antonio was tough to guard, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it seems like the successful teams kind of take after that, like Golden State, the way that ball moves. Sometimes it's like, man, it's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, like because I mean, Timmy, obviously, Tim Duncan, they had for that entire stretch, and I think this year was the first year since what has it been, like 20 years, 20 plus years since they've not made the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah,
But like Tim Duncan, but then it was about the pieces and moving and working together, like not really about who that second guy was. And
yeah.
Tim Duncan didn't, if you watched him play, like he wasn't just like an ISO, like
Oh yeah,
obviously wasn't driving into the lane, like playing like that style. And they won 5 championships, right? Five, four, five,
yeah,
five
yeah.
championships.
Five, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it clearly works. And, Popovich obviously driving that style helps a little bit too. But, yeah, I, I was going to ask you, so what's you're from Florida, right? You're from
Yeah,
Florida originally?
I was born there. I ended up moving up to New York when I was pretty young. Grew up there until eighth grade and then back to Florida. So,
So Magic or Heat or neither? Where you at in your fandom?
um, I'm more of a Magic fan, which it's been tough, but I'm your typical. I'm a LeBron guy, so I'm your bandwagoner. Wherever he goes,
Mm.
I'm a fan. I know it is what it is, man.
You're lucky. You're lucky. So one of the co-hosts of the show of the podcast, he or actually really everyone besides me on the podcast gives me shit for loving LeBron because me and my brother were talking about it yesterday. Like anyone who actually watches basketball like knows how great LeBron is and knows like as good as Giannis is, as good as Kawhi is, like
Different, man.
they're they're tier one, but LeBron is on like his own level. Like it's
Yeah,
just different. Like
it's just a different level, man. I mean, look, he's near 17. I mean, it's absurd what he's doing in year 17.
yeah, we
But
just talked about the Spurs going on a 20-year run of not missing the playoffs. I mean, LeBron has done it. I mean, I think he missed his first year, right? His rookie year, he missed the playoffs,
yeah, probably. Yeah, I think.
and
Yeah,
and last year would have
yeah.
been his
Oh, yeah.
other.
I don't count that. I mean,
But
they're
I'm
four.
saying like 15 out of 17 years, this guy's in the playoffs
And I
on
mean,
three different teams.
then 10 out of the 17 years he's in the finals.
Yeah,
So it's like, I mean, I don't care who you are or how you did it. That's impressive. I don't care if you're in the East or you know,
and he
that's
can
tough.
play any style too, any
Yeah,
style that we've been talking about. That ISO ball. I
yeah.
mean, he does less of that now, but like he can play that European style that you were talking about too before. It's just so fun to watch. I can't wait to watch later on tonight.
Oh man, I
Are
gotta.
you're gonna probably be sleeping right at 3
I
a.m. or whatever
yeah.
for you?
Luckily, I found a website that plays them like a couple hours later. So I go to bed and I know the game's going on. It's tough to sleep, but I just go to bed, wake up first thing in the morning, don't look at my phone, watch the game through, and then you know
Uh,
evaluate later.
the worst thing ever for me from a basketball standpoint from watching basketball. So I went to so 2016 obviously was the year that the Cavs beat the Warriors, right? And I went to Israel on this trip uh, during that time, and when I left they were down 3-1,
Oh man,
and they tied it up, and I was like, all right, like we were at a hotel. I was with like this group. We're at a hotel, and me and this kid that I was rooming with on the trip, I was like, let's wake up at 3 a.m. Like a bunch of people were like planning on it. Like, let's wake up at 3 a.m. Like we got to watch this game. Like it doesn't matter how tired we were. We were like hiking that day, whatever.
yeah.
I freaking wake up at like 6:30 a.m. Like,
No.
holy shit, did you see that block? Like, like I'm just like seeing all the highlights, like LeBron's block on Iggy, like
Oh
the
my God.
Kyrie's threes, like and so like I'm not even like I can't even like watch that later. So I'm like seeing I the first time I watched the game in full was during this quarantine because they were obviously replaying like all these old
Yeah,
games back in March, April. Um and that was the first time I actually watched that game.
yeah.
So it was pretty crazy for me. But like yeah, that sucked. So hopefully you don't miss anything like that.
I mean, like, I try to make it feel like it's live. I don't check
You
any
don't look,
scores,
yeah.
updates. I turn my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Obviously, I prefer it live. Like I used to have a rule with myself while I was overseas. It was like if the game starts at 1 a.m., I'll watch it. Any later than 1 a.m., I can't do it. Actually, last season, when I was in Austria, I was watching every game. I was up till like 7 a.m. It just wasn't. It's not healthy, man. So I was like, I can't do that this year. I got to take it seriously and take care of my
It's
body a
tough,
little bit.
yeah. Cause how much do you normally practice? Like, I'm assuming every day, but how much?
Um, it depends. It depends on the league you're in. Or like right now, it's preseason technically for us, so we have like 1 day off a week, and then we like tomorrow we have a scrimmage, so it's kind of like 2 days off. So it's been. I mean, that's not a day off, but it's not intense practice, you know.
Mm.
So, but yeah, we've been depends on the league. Some leagues go 3 or 4 times a week. Some will go 6 days a week. I'm assuming. It all depends. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. But yeah, definitely got to get some sleep. Can't be up till 7 a.m. And playing at your highest level.
yeah, man. I used to do it because I couldn't stand going to bed during those games, but I've come to like get used to that next day thing, and I can skip through commercials and timeouts, and
That's
so
true. Makes
yeah,
it a little quicker.
some advantages, but
Hmm. You don't need to see, like, as fun as it is. You don't need to see like Shaq and Barkley like going at it for 20
man,
minutes on. The
I hate that's like worse than missing the game. When I miss something on there, I get so mad. That's like my favorite part of the game, man. Oh,
Yeah, that honestly saves, like, when the game is on ESPN, it's a noticeable difference. Like, when, like, no offense to Paul Pierce, and Jay Williams and those guys and Jalen Rose, but like that crew is just not the same. Like, they need to figure something out, or just put the game, like, somehow get these games on TNT.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm totally with you. And what's starting to bother me is like I feel like slowly they're bringing in guys to do the TNT. Like sometimes it's like D Wade in there. Sometimes it's like Candace Parker, and like I feel like they're bringing in people that. And there's, I feel like I don't know if it's true. I feel like they're slowly gonna move the TNT crew out and bring the new guys in as things as they get older and stuff. I hope
I,
that's not the
I
case.
hope it's not soon. I don't know. I guess like they got to move out eventually, but
Eventually, and I'm starting to see more guys in there that aren't usually there. I'm like, oh man,
Draymond, right? Like, Draymond
like
right now has been on like all the time.
Dwayne Wade's been on a few times. Candace Parker, some other. They have like their own Ernie. Like I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So I don't like to see that, but I mean, that day's gonna come eventually. So
I want to know how you get to be Ernie. Like, how does he come up, and like he never played, right? Like, I don't, maybe he played in high school or something, or college, but he wasn't an
I don't know.
NBA player. Like, just like kind of shooting the shit with Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaq every night. Like,
That's like the
it's a
dream
dream
job
dream
there,
come true. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
So, all right. So you're more of a Magic fan. So obviously we got right now the Heat playing the Celtics.
Yeah.
We got the Lakers playing the Nuggets. What are you just you're on the LeBron train? You're on the LeBron train
Um,
and you're not hopping off, or what's up
yeah,
with
man,
this year?
that's my guy. Like I want to see him get his fourth championship, of course. And I think, like non-biased opinion, I think they will get it this year. Um, after the Clippers losing, and I honestly think they would have beat the Clippers. Just something was wrong. I don't know. The Clippers looked fatigued or something. Something was not right.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers were. They've been rolling. Like they have energy when they need to, and um, I don't know,
Well,
man. Just
the Clippers didn't take it seriously. Like, if
yeah,
you look at like some of the reports, like they're having internal issues about like who's getting star treatment now with Paul George. I don't know if you saw any of that. Like, you got Lou Williams going and stopping at a strip club outside the outside the bubble to get to get, as he says, to get chicken wings or whatever he
right.
was doing there. Um, and I don't know if you saw, there was like a good meme of like, Caruso, or it was like Caruso, it was Daniel House, so it wasn't even the Clippers, but it was like Daniel House and Caruso. Daniel House let in like this random girl,
Yeah.
right, into the bubble
Yeah.
and got suspended and thrown out of the bubble. And then
Yeah.
Caruso, on the other hand, is skipping his sister's wedding to stay
Oh
in
yeah,
the bubble. So there's levels to it. Like who wants it more? Like certainly
for sure.
matters and certainly has an effect on like how people will remember your team.
For sure. I think, and like, I think it was like game 6, or I don't know when it was, of the Clippers Denver series. As the pressure started getting to the Clippers, I'm like, I'm talking to my family and friends, and I'm like, who's the voice in that locker room? That it's not Kawhi.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Paul George. It's not Lou Williams. Like, who's the guy? I mean, is it Pat Beverly? Like, I just don't. That's, to me, that leadership just wasn't there. I don't know. Um,
It's I guess I would guess Pat Bev,
but
but
Doc,
yeah, to your point.
Doc's doing all the talking, and that's great and everything, but you got to have that guy on the floor that's leading the pack. And that, I mean, LeBron, like, that's one of his best qualities from what I hear, his leadership. So I thought that if they played each other, I think the Lakers would have won. Just I just have a feeling. I could be wrong, and I kind of wanted to see that happen. But yeah, man, I think they win tonight, and I think they get to
Think
the
they win
final.
tonight?
I think they win tonight. I think
3-1 Nuggets are done.
I think it's over. I think that whole 3-1 Nuggets thing is exciting. It's this and that, but guys like Rondo, LeBron, Dwight, man, like, those guys, they're serious right now. Like, I don't know. I think they close this thing out tonight.
Yeah, and before too, like I don't know why I didn't think of this. Like prototypical Euro guys is Jokic. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought of Luca, but like I feel like it's even more so Jokic. Like I
yeah,
love the way that guy plays, and honestly, I took them making it out of the West at the beginning of this year. I think it'll be the Lakers. I think it'll be the
yeah,
Lakers, but I don't know. I just thought that there was something special about that team coming out of that Portland series from last
yeah,
playoffs.
yeah,
Um, and I think next year will be even crazier. Like MPJ is getting better.
yeah,
Jamal is obviously this is his. I would say this is probably his breakout, series in my
yeah,
opinion. And Jokic is on a new level. Like he looks healthier. He's
yeah,
playing better at the end of the game. So even if they lose, like all positives coming out
yeah.
of this year.
Look
Like
out. They got pieces. They're super young, man. Like, they're gonna be dangerous if they stick with it. And I mean, I was kind of hating on them. They were down 3-1 to Utah, and I was like, man, like, they got all that talent. Like, I was questioning Mike Malone. I
and
was like,
that team sucks. I have to
who?
say the
Utah? Oh,
Utah.
and I'm
They're
like,
awful. I'm like, who's this guy? George's. I don't remember his name.
Jordan Yang.
Yang. Yeah, yeah. That started right, or like he played like a
Played this
significant
game.
amount of minutes.
Yeah, he played. He's played in that same league up in prep school that I played in.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so it's I'm kind of familiar with him just because he's from that league. But yeah, most people won't. They don't know Georges Niang, and you got guys like, you're heavily counting on guys like Joe Ingles and
Hmm.
like Royce O'Neal. It's like, come on, man. Like, they're good players, but
Well,
this is a
they were missing Bogdanovich too, which hurts because
yeah,
he's a solid player and can fit in a lot of different roles. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Donovan Mitchell, all credit to him. Rudy Gobert, I think, is as good as he is on defense, was just a liability on offense. They didn't really have another option on offense to answer Jamal and Jokic.
yeah,
But
yeah. They didn't have enough, and I mean, I don't know how they got up 3-1 in that series, but they almost pulled it off. I mean, it's wild. But
yeah, to think about it, because if you think about it, give me 1 second. Hold on. If you think about it, they would have got smoked by the Clippers, and this would be a whole different conversation we're having right now.
yeah, so as a Laker fan, I'm thinking, okay, I don't really want them to play the Clippers, especially
Yeah,
because Clippers, in the beginning there was all this hype, whatever. So I'm like, Utah or Denver will play the Clippers, and I'm like, who has a better shot to beat the Clippers? And I'm like, it's got to be Denver, but Denver's down 3-1, so I'm like, man, maybe it's Utah. Does Utah have a chance to beat the Clippers? And I was like, no way. So when when Denver started coming back 3-1, I'm like, yes, man, I need them to play the Clippers. And then that whole 3-1 happened, man. It was wild. It's wild for Denver. As a Denver fan, it must be crazy right now.
I got a cousin that's a huge Denver fan, and Game 7, like it was so weird because like even like Game 7, right? People were, I feel like, just not really. I think it was during week 1 of the NFL. I believe it was like 1 p.m. or like 1:30 p.m. at Eastern Standard Time during like the first slew of games for football, and like no
Right.
one's watching, and people are just assuming the series is over. I think the Nuggets were something like plus 300 to win that game after winning 2 in a row, coming back in that Game 6.
Yeah, Game
People,
6 was on a Sunday, I think. Was it not?
no, Game 6 I think was on the Friday, and then Game 7 was on the Sunday.
Wow. Yeah.
And Game 7 was in the middle of the day on a Sunday, which is like whoever made that schedule is just, I don't know what they were thinking there, because they were competing with Sunday football, and you know
Yeah.
you know better than that. Like you don't compete with Sunday football, but crazy because I just felt like no one was really watching. I watched the game, but I was like kind of in the middle of doing something else. Like I had counted them out. I'm not gonna lie. I like thought that the
Yeah.
Clippers were just gonna turn up and like just close it.
Game 7.
Yeah,
Game 7.
like I just didn't think that there was really any chance
Yeah.
that Kawhi and Paul George wouldn't just turn up.
I had a feeling
It's
like
crazy.
I had a feeling once it was 3-3, I was like if you're the Clippers, it's 3-1, you're in control. It's 3-2, and you're like, okay, like let's close this thing out for real. Now it's 3-3, and you're like, now that pressure. I mean, now it's every shot. There's this pressure. Like, are we really gonna
Yeah.
blow this thing? So when it was 3-3, I was like, I think Denver might have. What they got nothing to lose. Go out there, play. Clippers got all this pressure. Like just they're the Clippers. They're possibly the favorite to win it. They just blew this 3-1 lead so far. Like I'm like, man, that pressure might get to them a little bit.
Yeah, and add on top of that, blowing like what was it, an 18, 19 point lead in the late
Yeah,
in the third quarter, like to close it out. It's got to be tough for Kawhi, but
yeah,
like it's got
man.
to be tough for all of them. But Kawhi like is the only one that I feel remotely bad for in that
Yeah,
situation, because I know he cares, but there
yeah,
was just some drama that he doesn't deal with, and
yeah.
I think
No, I like Kawhi, man. He seems he's straight to business, and the way, I mean, you can't not like the way he plays. It's awesome.
it's straight out of that Spurs European style, exactly what we were talking about. What do you think of, real quick? I want to know. I want to get your thoughts. What do you think of Giannis? What's your like? What is he the best player in the world, or is he not even top 5? Because I feel like that's like the two lines that people have with him.
I agree that those are the two lines, and I'm definitely on the like. I actually tweeted. I said I think there's about 7 or 8 guys I'd probably take over Giannis right now. I just he's so limited, man, and it's like, and he got exposed, and like I hate to, I'm not, I know it all, but like I knew that was gonna happen. I knew Miami would give him fits, and I was
Anyone that knows anything about basketball agrees too. Like,
he's so limited. He's so scoutable. That's the difference between these players. Like you got guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, or Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant. Like you can do all Kawhi. You can do all the scouting you want, but like they're amazing players and they're gonna do what they do. Like Giannis, you can scout him and zone in on him, and it's like he's
he can't
non-existent.
adapt.
No,
He
so
doesn't adapt.
I'm I'm just not. I don't know, man. I'm not on that bandwagon yet.
I'm with you. To be honest, I'm with you. Like I'm. Yeah, 7, 8 guys. Maybe I don't want to say more than that. I don't know. I get like you just rattled off 4 like off the top of your head. Like 100% healthy KD is in my opinion, the second best player in the league, behind of course LeBron, Kawhi, Steph. Like
I would take LeBron. I'd take Kawhi. I would take Steph Curry. I'd take Kevin Durant. I would take. I want to say James Harden. I mean, You know,
That I don't know.
he gets a lot of hate, but I'm like, to me, he's a basketball player. Like, I know he can make a three if we need him to. Like, I know he's going to make his free throws if we need him to. He's going to, you know what I mean? I feel like he's a basketball player. I'm taking Luka over him without a doubt.
100%.
Possibly Anthony Davis. Like, there's so many guys where I'm like, man, like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Like, why not Anthony Davis? Like, because he's almost like Giannis. I mean, Giannis has some better qualities in terms of being able to command the point and bring the ball up and drive to the basket and stuff like that. But you know, you got almost the same level in those categories with Anthony Davis, but the guy can shoot. The guy can shoot, and he's a rim protector. Like so is Giannis, I guess. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Giannis stretches out the floor for them, but like he can't shoot, and it's weird. Like I don't know, and it doesn't work in the playoffs.
To me, it's like any guy who's consistently airballing free throws. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't care what else he's doing. If you're airballing free throws, I cannot put you in that conversation. I just
Yeah.
can't do it.
No, I'm with you. Like, yeah, 100%. And you know, the people, you know, my co-host that we do the podcast together, that I do the podcast with, usually, that I was telling you about before, they like, you know, LeBron haters, like, you know, they're like, if you've ever listened to Barstool, like Barstool hates LeBron, like they love
Oh,
Barstool
they
and
were like,
hate LeBron. Yeah, they hate
and
LeBron.
it's almost like politics. It's like basketball politics. It's like you're either a fan or you're not, and it's usually pretty dramatic which way you are. It's like you love LeBron, like you're all for him, or you're like, man, like he'll never be Jordan. He's this.
But but look, like I'm a Knicks fan, and when I saw LeBron, like I went to the Lakers came and played in MSG back in like what, December or January, and I was like cursing at LeBron. Like I want, and the Knicks won like 10 games last year. So like it's not like I was like rooting for them because they were gonna make the playoffs. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you could still root for your team and have respect for greatness, and that's
acknowledge.
what, yeah, like. So that's the difference. But even so, like that's what I was saying. Like after the Bucks had obviously been eliminated 4-1 by the Heat, and the Clippers got out, I was like, all right, is LeBron the best player in the world? And one of my friends goes, text back, he's like, nah, I still don't think so. I was like, what else do you want? Like, you gotta like win champions. Eventually you gotta win in the playoffs. Like that's where it counts, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it was like Giannis went out first, so it was like, okay, we're done. Are we done with that conversation? We know he's not at LeBron's level. And then people were like, well, Kawhi, man, Kawhi. And then he, you know,
LeBron doesn't go 6 for 20 in a game 7. I'm sorry. It's just period. End of story. And he doesn't let it come back from 3-1. Well, we'll
no,
see. I'm gonna eat that. I'm sure I'm gonna eat those words, but
and knock on wood, it's not happening. Like I'm confident. I'm pretty confident that tonight's the night they put it away. I mean, freaking Denver shot like they were shooting like 60% last game, and they were down 10. And I was like, man, LA can put together a few runs here and close it out. I don't know. I feel like Denver has to play pretty perfect to make this happen.
yeah, I do think that there's an aspect of this though where Denver is a deeper team, in my
Oh yeah.
opinion. Like, and there's an aspect of like it's all these guys entering their prime on Denver side, and almost besides AD, like almost all of the Lakers are exiting their prime or past their prime at this point. So
Yeah.
it's actually really interesting because like you got guys like Danny Green, who I think he was drafted in like 08, 09 or something like that. That's obviously like a great shooter, but he hasn't been able to hack it. Rondo, on the other hand, is definitely past his prime too, but he's been playing like old Rondo.
Yeah.
Dwight last game is playing like Magic Dwight. Like, you know, you would know all about that. Like, so it's interesting. Whoever can kind of pull it out, like pull out that old, like their old style of play back when they were in their best shape, in their best playing habits, like
You
they're
can't
gonna be
teach
able to pull it out.
experience. You can't teach experience, man. Like these guys have been there. Like they just know how to win games like down the stretch. Even if I think maybe overall like you said, deeper team, maybe more talented, 1 through 15, Denver.
Mhm.
Down the stretch, so you got guys on Lakers with IQ. Like Rondo's IQ, man, like that helps so much. I didn't realize how much they missed him until the bubble started, and the Lakers were, I mean, they were disgusting to watch. Like those first like 8 games, I was like, geez, like what is going on?
You thought
And
they were done? Like I thought that they were like not ready for this. Like
I thought
at one
it's
point.
like I was there too. But then I was like, we'll see. Like playoff LeBron's usually a different level, and then they lost game 1, and I was like I knew everyone was going to be freaking out, and I was like, he has a history of losing game 1. Like he usually evaluates a little bit. He's kind of
Hmm.
passive, and then
He did it
but
twice.
yeah, did it twice. I mean, they've lost what?
2 game 1s.
They've lost 2 game 1s, yeah. So
The Rockets and the Blazers.
yep.
And everyone was like, oh, both times they were like, oh, is this it? And then they won all 4 in a row.
With Portland, I was kind of worried with Portland. I was like, man, Damian
'Cause,
Lillard's so hot right now. Like,
yeah,
that's another guy. I'm right now.
I
I'm
would
taking
take him over Giannis. Yeah.
absolutely. Like, that's what I mean, man. There's so many guys. Like, I don't know, man. I can go all day about that and how he won MVP, and it's like
I
crazy.
think he deserved MVP because MVP is not. It's an award that doesn't really matter, in my
Right.
opinion.
I think he had the best season. He had his
Statistically, yeah.
stats were absurd. Like they were number 1, whatever. But to me, it's just I think the voting's a little crazy. Um, I don't know.
I think Kyrie's the line. I think so. Like prime Kyrie or Giannis. I think those guys. Like that's where I'm like, all right, now we're starting to get to. I don't know if I would take Kyrie, but
Right.
that's like, there's a lot of guys I would take over Kyrie, but
Yeah.
the reason I say that is because now you got to deal with the Nets next year with Kyrie and KD.
Yeah.
Hopefully for them being healthy all season, and
Yeah.
they can't hack it. He can't hack it with those guys. Not the way he plays right now.
No, and that's the thing that makes me mad is, there's all this talk about him potentially leaving after next season and maybe he'll request a trade, this or that. He met with the owners about bringing in more talent. And I'm like, dude, it's not those
Learn how
guys.
to shoot.
Dude, you're the issue. Like, so I'm like so fed up with Giannis, man. Like the fact that he's even talking like about those things. I'm like, man, they won the game you were not in. Like
Yeah.
so don't blame the rest of the guys. Like you got to be better. Don't threaten to leave. I don't know, man.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm taking, if he's trying to come to the Knicks, like 100% I'm in. But let's develop. Like let's get better because like Budenholzer, that whole that's a huge problem too. Like him and the rest of that coaching staff and development staff, they think he's at the best that he'll ever be right now, and he's
Yeah,
not. He could be he could be way better. He could be so good, but you got to make him shoot. You got to make sure that he's taking 1,000 3-point shots a day. Like forget all the rest. He's good. He's fine with everything else. Just have him shoot every single day before, preseason, in the summer, whatever. Just get him ready to be able to take an in game too. Like make sure they're situational. He's taking situational shots.
sure.
Make sure that he's shooting in the regular season more, right? Like during big game, like during actual games.
Yeah,
Um, I know it's easy to just drive and dunk, but like at some point, like this is what makes LeBron, Kawhi like so special, is because they know what they have to do to make it to the playoffs and get their teams ready for the playoffs. They're not worried about these awards that don't mean shit.
yeah, no doubt, for sure.
Yeah. But so what's next? So what's next for you? So what are you? So I know like obviously you guys are in the preseason right now. What time? When does your season start?
I think our first game is late October.
Late October.
Yeah, somewhat roughly. So we still got a little bit.
And you
Um,
guys are good. Like, are you worried at all about the season? Is there any talks like that with COVID and all that, or not really over there?
there was a lot of uncertainty. I mean, everyday life here isn't that different than it is like in the States.
Mm-hmm.
People are wearing their masks. Restaurants are open. Um, it seems pretty normal, but there's been like a spike in cases in Madrid, so I know they're starting to get a little worried. But I don't know where the league stands on that. I haven't heard anything. As of now, we're playing, so kind of just taking it as we go.
I feel that. And so what's your specific, I guess, individually, like what are your goals? Are you trying to get back and play it all in the States again, play like G League ball? Are you trying to just keep playing in Europe, bounce around a couple different leagues? What's your ideal next few years look like?
So if something like the G League or anything like that were to happen, of course I'll jump on that opportunity. It's tough, especially with like, my probably only shot at that currently would be like an open tryout. I go to an open tryout, I do well, I might make the roster, I don't know. But those usually aren't held until after the draft, and that kind of stuff. So it's really like I would have to wait at home, miss out on a lot of Europe ball, take my chances, and it's something I'm not going to do. So, and especially having my Italian passport, it gives me a huge advantage. Like I don't count as the American, like let's say they have all these rules of in every league in Europe, maybe you get 2 or 3 Americans, sometimes one. So now I don't count as that American, so I kind of become more valuable.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like in Ireland we had one American on the team, and then or they have imports. You can have 3 or 4 imports, which mean they can be from Europe, but it's crazy. Every league is different. You can have 3 imports and 2 Americans, one American on the floor at a time, all that kind of stuff. But luckily, I don't have to worry about any of that with my passport. So
That's crazy. I did not
yeah,
know that one American on the floor at a time. Wow.
certain
But
leagues, I mean, yeah, yeah.
that's crazy. That's so crazy. So you guys, remind me, what's your team's name again? Cause I remember I looked it up. I saw the name and I was like, I can't pronounce this. I don't know.
I think it's like, actually, to be honest, I don't even know those. It's like Pas Pielagos, I think it
Pas
is.
Pielagos.
I think, or Pielagos, or I don't really know, to be honest.
Is this your
Um,
first year with them?
yeah, yeah, my first year with them. It's been interesting, man. It's I think we're gonna be pretty good in this league. It's not a league I was thrilled about being in, to be honest. I thought I did pretty well in the top league in Austria. Um, I mean, I know I did pretty well, and COVID definitely didn't help me to boost up my, to the next level. Things kind of,
So the league you were in Austria was considered the top league there. And then
it was, yeah, it was the
okay.
top league in Austria. It was really competitive. I did pretty well. I averaged 13 and a half points there. Started most of the games, and we were a pretty good team until COVID ended our season early. But so I understand I'm not in the league I would prefer to be in right now. But me and my agents, my agent's advice was we just got to have you playing right now because there's so many kids at home who aren't due to COVID, and just play and hopefully get my numbers up. It'd be nice to win a championship here, and then we'll get back to that next level next year. So
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, no, definitely. Like I was that was the so when I was doing some research and saw some of those highlights, I think it was the Austria League that I saw, and like I saw some of the passes that I don't think it wasn't like you making the pass, it was you making the shot, but some of the passes on like some of those highlight reels, I was like, this is the most European ball I've ever seen in my whole life, like behind the backs, like Jokic style, like
yeah,
it's
for
crazy.
sure.
It's crazy. Well, man, it was awesome talking to you. Would love to get you back on here again at some point. But good luck with everything. Obviously stay safe, stay healthy. And, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna obviously Pas Pielagos fan you got right here. So I'm rooting for you guys. But yeah, take care, man. Peace out.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Anytime. So.